Welcome to the Secret Job Society podcast, where we interview people with unique or little-known professions. Join in as we peel back the curtain on these niche, fascinating roles and the humans behind them, showing how they found meaning and purpose in truly unconventional ways.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Kristen with the Secret Job Society podcast, and we had to continue our conversation with last week's guest, Heather Honnold. When we went to her website to see her list of qualifications, being a death doula, our co-host Hamed also noticed about 10 or 11 different services and certifications that she has to offer. And we were fascinated. Amongst them was a crystal master and an Archangel Activator, and we had to learn more. Now, in this episode, we get into what some people would call pseudoscience or woo-woo culture or alternative ways of healing. And while scientific studies have yet to validate measurable energetic interactions between crystals and the human body, research does highlight the powerful role of belief and intention. A 2001 study found participants reported physical sensations while meditating with both real and fake crystals, pointing out the placebo effect as a potent mechanism for healing. Rather than dismissing this, we want to invite you, our listeners, to consider the crystal as a symbolic tool, an anchor for belief, for focus, and for intention. Many spiritual and healing traditions understand that what we bring to a ritual, our attention, our presence, and our meaning making is where the true transformation lies. Whether or not crystals do anything in the scientific sense, their ability to act as vessels for intention may be more than enough for some people. I do have some links in the show notes for different research and articles for those who are interested. All right. So we had to continue the conversation with Heather because she is and does so much beyond the end-of-life doula, which already is so impactful for the community. We just want to dive more into what else it is that you offer.
Okay.
And I have a list here of qualifications. So we talked about the certified end-of-life doula, elder care doula.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of wanted to talk more on this part 2 episode about 2 specific ones, the Advanced Crystal Master and then Certified Archangel Activator. But in addition to those 2, you have certification in sound healing, conscious dying collective certified coach, ordained interfaith minister, Reiki practitioner, if I'm saying that right, certified mindful and meditation teacher, and a BA forensic psychology.
Yes.
So
forgot about the degree.
I would say let's see where this goes, but let's start with Advanced Crystal Master and Archangel Activator. What are those?
Okay. Advanced Crystal Master. I'm certified through the Hibiscus Moon Academy and another academy, actually, also. I have to do education in 2 places every time.
Thorough.
We love it.
So crystals are amazing. And so Reiki is energy healing, right? And so crystal healing is very similar, except we also use crystals.
Okay.
So I don't know how deep you would like me to go into crystals.
As deep as you like.
But we're all energy. I think we can agree on that, right?
Yes.
Everything is energy. Well, crystals are also energy. And they attune to different frequencies depending on the kind of crystal. And so they're naturally vibrating at the proper frequency. So when in our bodies, we also vibrate and we tend to get off kilter because of life, right? And so crystals can help bring that vibration back to its natural frequency. So they entrain with our bodies and with our energy to bring it back to norm.
So this is another tool.
Yes.
So similar in the way that sound healing would do it,
Exactly.
the crystal, because of its properties, is able to do the same thing.
Yep. And it can do it like a lot of people wear crystal jewelry. A lot of people don't know why they're wearing it, or they're just wearing it because it's pretty. But generally it's doing something if it's a real crystal. Having crystals in your home, I make crystal infused sprays and oils and things like that. you can use crystals. I mean, crystals are everywhere. We just don't know. Like all of our technology has quartz in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
So crystals, people think that, oh, they don't do anything. And maybe there's science, maybe there's not. But science and spirituality do meet.
Totally.
And so there are a lot of people who think it's a bunch of hokum, just like Reiki and anything else. And the way I see it, because I do tend to be scientific minded also, is there are so many things that we did not know until we knew. And I know, based on my experience, that crystals have an effect on me. I've been attracted to crystals since I was a child, and I didn't know why I was collecting them. I had no idea. But I had to have them all. And now I have hundreds of them. So I do crystal healing sessions, much like a massage session. I have a massage table. On it, I have a biomat, which is filled with crystals, and has EMF blocking and helps with grounding and soothing music. And I read people's energy fields and decide what they need, because different crystals do different things. And you can generally find that what that is based on their color, because they're going to generally align with the chakras. So, for example, let me give a good one. Red jasper is going to be our sacral chakra. So it's generally going to be anything physically that's in the gut area, our sexual area. And so it can be physical things. It can help alleviate headaches and physical pain, depending on the crystals that you use. And it can be emotional blocks, which is where I find the most help. And people have releases during these sessions. And so, yeah, it's really magical.
What are releases?
It can be anything. I like to warn people because, first of all, you're automatically going to get into a relaxed state. That's just natural. But there are different, it can be just crying for no reason, if you will. People pass gas, like it moves through the body.
Like a massage.
Just like a massage.
Yeah.
Yep. And just no hands.
So can we talk a little bit of science with the crystals?
Yeah.
So say I'm experiencing some sort of pain from emotional or physical blockage. You bring the red jasper near my body. What is my body doing? Like, is the crystal interacting with my energetic field to like match it?
So what's happening is, and generally for a normal crystal healing session, I'm just going to align the crystals with the chakras.
Okay.
But if somebody has a specific challenge that they're experiencing, there are different layouts that we can do, right? So there are crystal grids that don't go on a body that to manifest things and things like that. And so depending on the crystals that you use together and things like that. But what's happening is we have our energy field that goes outside of us, and the crystals are laying on the body. So they are getting in, they're in training with each other into our energy field and bringing that energy back to, it doesn't happen instantly necessarily. Sometimes it takes a while. And some people, again, will come in and think this is not going to work.
Yeah.
It's nothing. This is silly. And then I follow up with them a few days later. I just feel lighter, so it's just not explainable. And maybe it's, in their heads.
Yeah.
Like we don't know. But a lot of things are in our heads, right? Like we can
the mind
very easily create illness in ourselves. So it's a sense of comfort, and it's just another healing modality.
I feel like the mere fact that they're there is like something believes that they need to be there for a reason, even if they're saying to you, like, I don't think this is anything,
Absolutely. Yes.
You're there for a reason. And also, I feel like there's a lot to be said about just the power of belief, like the placebo effect.
100%.
So even if we're talking about crystals and like proven scientific research behind it, and someone is like, yeah, I don't believe it, but person B is like, I don't know, but I'm open to it. I feel like that also has an impact on.
Absolutely. And what I tell people is, worst case scenario, you got an hour of life uninterrupted in a very relaxed state. And sometimes that's what people need. But the effects come sometimes days after. I've heard people say, I woke up crying and I don't know why. And it's not a bad thing to cry, right?
Yeah.
It's a release, to your point.
It's the best release. So, and again, it's a safe space. And, I use some intuition, and sometimes I get hits, and I ask my clients if they want to know what I got.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. And so,
I mean, you have seen whether or not, I think we're past the phase of whether it's science or not, or belief or not. I think obviously there's something there, and you would know more than us because you've seen more patients, if we want to call them that, or clients. Is there any patterns you're seeing of like releases or what people go through specific to the crystal therapies or crystal treatments, if you will?
I think it is. I think the biggest thing that I see is trauma release. So I am a very firm believer that unresolved trauma makes us ill.
Oh,
yes.
I think,
yes.
And I think that is not something that is talked about often enough. And I will say that everything I talk about and everything I do has somehow come from my own experiences.
And in full transparency, my wife's a psychiatrist, so she has said this. It's unresolved trauma that leads to more mental health problems downstream. Yep. Absolutely.
Yes.
So there's the science part.
There's the science part, and there is my personal experience part as well.
Yep.
So I know that until I started dealing with things, I was sick.
Same.
Right? So just the safe space, right, to be in that and feel held. And sometimes it's not actually verbalizing the trauma, but just acknowledging it, right? And it helps. The crystals, I have found the pattern is it helps to kind of let go of it a little bit in order to speak about it, right? Because for a lot of us, it's so buried deep down that we refuse to even acknowledge it or talk about it.
Totally.
So when our body loosens up a little bit and our energy loosens up a little bit, maybe we want to say 5 words about it. And then it automatically kind of starts snowballing where we can talk about it more and talk about it more. And the more we talk about it, the more we're healing.
When I got my first lapis crystal,
I
couldn't stop speaking about things.
Well, that just opened your throat chakra right up.
Oh, 100%.
What did you feel?
I felt a release. I felt like it was causing me illness to stay silent.
Wow.
That's how I felt. And I carry the lapis with me everywhere I go because I feel like when I'm experiencing, if we call it trauma or conflict or tension, I go within and I store in my body and it stays here, which is why I love massage so much, because it's a somatic therapy. It gives me a chance to feel.
Yes.
Sure.
And so when I had, I guess what we know now as this energetic connection with this crystal, I didn't have any other choice but to keep speaking, because not speaking was making me sick and keeping me in pain in my body and in my mind. And so, it's powerful.
As you bring different types of crystals, and I don't know enough to say the types, and if you want, obviously you can, but do you notice any specific things with this crystal? I see people do this or say this or behave like this. Is there any change? Like these crystals do this, those crystals do that.
Yes. So for example, anything black is going to ground somebody.
Like a black crystal?
Black tourmaline, obsidian is going to be the best to ground somebody. And a lot of us are floating up in the air all the time and don't just go stand in the dirt like we should.
Sure.
Again, grounding is a scientific thing, and it's so important that we do it, and nobody does it. And so now they're coming out with grounding sheets finally, right? But the truth is, all we have to do is take off our shoes and go stand in the dirt. That's it. But to your question, amethyst helps with anxiety and helps ease people. And I give or recommend amethyst to people who can't sleep. And within days, they're telling me that they're sleeping better and not having nightmares or not having dreams.
Just put it near your bed?
Under your pillow, near
your bed.
Does
the size matter? I've always wondered.
The size does not matter.
So a tiny crystal versus a big, gigantic, expensive one?
No, exactly.
Are the big, gigantic, expensive ones more efficacious?
They're beautiful.
Okay.
That's really
okay.
Okay.
So there's no effectiveness.
Okay.
Not,
I was wondering.
Good to know.
There's a price range.
Not based on my experience or my belief.
Yeah, of course.
There will be differing opinions on that. Lepidolite is another purple stone and actually has lithium in it. Like lithium is a part of its makeup. And of course, it's really great for depression and anxiety because of that. So, yes, I have seen it, and I've seen it. I had, like I said, I make crystal infused sprays and oils, and my sister suffers with bipolar disorder, and so I made one specifically for her. I threw specific crystals, and it made her feel lighter, and she didn't even really know it necessarily right away, and she's like, I feel kind of different. So it is fascinating. It's kind of mind blowing. And I'm still, even though I have this full belief in what they do, I'm still blown away sometimes. My biomat, which again has crystals, my dog had to have both of her knees replaced. 3 years old. But I said, come on, we're going to go lay on the biomat. And the biomat is in the sanctuary of my home, which is full of crystals. And I tell you, if she doesn't, every time I go near that door, run in there and just lay on it. And immediately, just like you can just tell. And she hit her physically, she did heal better with the second knee than the first, which I did not have her on the biomat for.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
there's something there. You know, whether you can prove anything and all these things, you know, there's something there.
Yeah. And I think there are studies, you know, that prove it, but there are so many people that say it's crap.
Yeah.
And 5 years from now, people are going to say, oh, I should have gotten a crystal.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But what I will say about crystals in size doesn't matter. And people often want to know, like, I want to get started with crystals, but I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know what to get. And my recommendation is, number one, just make sure it's real.
How?
Because there are a lot, there are different ways for different crystals. The number one is a reputable company.
Like all things.
Right. But my recommendation always is to go in the store, look around, and the crystal that you grab is the crystal you were meant to have. It's not about how it looks. It's not about how much it is. They will attract you.
Wow.
And you will walk out with what you need in that moment.
And then Google it later.
Yeah. Well, and anytime you go into, I don't buy crystals online except from one place because I trust them completely. So when you go into a store to buy a crystal, 99% of the time they're going to give you a little card with what the name is and then kind of some things that it does.
Okay. I'm okay with you telling us the website if you want the audience to know the one you buy from.
Oh,
if you want
Bohemian.
Sorry.
Something Bohemian. They're in Naples, Florida. And they always send me the most lovely note when I buy something from them.
Well, we can get it from you later and we'll put it for our viewers.
I buy all my wholesale crystals from them because I make magic wands out of crystals.
Oh, wow.
And so they're the best. I love them. And they're ethically sourced and all that.
Okay.
What would you say to someone who says, I'm interested in crystals, but I'm not sure what this means with my religious beliefs?
Oh, yes.
Because I'm sure you hear that.
Yes.
Question, yeah.
You know, I have spent much of my life studying different religions. I'm fascinated by religion. And crystals go back millions of years. If you look at the Roman gods and the Greek gods, they had crystals in their armor and they had specific crystals.
Yeah.
And crystals are in the Bible also. And so I'm pretty blunt with people. Because I'm fascinated by religion and I'm really anti-organized religion. So I'm really blunt with people and kind of saying, you know, actually read your Bible and then come back and tell me what it says. Because there's crystals in there. There's essential oils in there. There are herbs in there. There is incense in there.
Sure.
So I might turn people off.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't tolerate... that I can't find the word, but the lack of acceptance for other things, because a book tells you that you are perceiving based on what someone tells you to perceive it as.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
I know what you mean.
Thank you.
Totally.
So I wanted to go ahead. Did you have...
Oh, I was gonna say we gotta get you a crystal.
What's that?
We gotta get you a crystal.
Totally. Yes. I'm not sure which one, but I like this approach.
I'll have to decide.
Maybe go to Sedona or something, and if that's a good place to buy them.
Yes, there's
maybe not. Okay, that's too commercialized.
It's become very commercialized.
Yeah.
I will say that there is a place they moved. They used to be on 7th Avenue. I want to say it's like 32nd Street in Shea now. Shout out to Fantasia Crystals. They have great crystals. They have a great staff. Everybody is really knowledgeable and friendly, and I've never gotten any crystal from there that wasn't good.
Okay, well that's good for local, and then we'll get the website too.
Yeah.
So if it's okay, I wanted to shift to the Archangel.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. And by the way, this is funny, but anytime I think of Archangel, I think of the X-Men character that had the wings. Every single time I read this, I don't know, I'm just being upfront.
Is that what we're talking about?
So, I don't know. I always think of Archangel as a positive superpower type of entity. So that's me, my own mind from childhood X-Men episodes, but please.
Well, it's not necessarily wrong in a superpower kind of entity. And there are angels in the Bible, right? And then it's Archangel Michael. There are several archangels. And the way I perceive them as messengers of God, universe, whatever you choose to believe. And different archangels kind of specialize in one area. So Archangel Michael, for example, is the angel of protection and confidence and that kind of thing. Archangel Raphael, and they all associate with colors.
Wow.
So Archangel Michael's blue, Archangel Raphael is green, and he is health and medical. And green is your heart chakra. So it all kind of lines up. Like all these different belief systems that are very different from each other always tend to come back to one thing.
They're just saying different words.
That's it.
It
literally, that's it. So it's really just helping people, often people who don't necessarily have a religion or a set practice, and connecting with something higher than themselves. So in this case, some people don't feel like they are worthy of having a relationship with God or whatever the highest power is.
Yeah.
So for some people, it's easier to associate with something just less powerful, less big, right? But there's still, it's the same concept. There are how many different gods and goddesses throughout different religions and history. And the archangels are very similar to that. So it's creating a relationship with this archangel, much like in witchcraft, and having different relationships with gods and goddesses, and having that more personalized relationship with them and calling on them for support in certain areas of your life.
So are you kind of like an intermediary with specific ones that has a message for the client?
Great question.
Yeah.
I don't believe in any form or fashion anyone ever needs an intermediary for anything.
Okay.
So I am not a crystal healer. I'm a crystal healing practitioner.
Okay.
Because we all have, in my opinion, we all have the same connection to whatever it is that we believe.
I agree.
And none of us have any special powers. So I am an educator, and I help people to learn to do it themselves. I don't want to heal you. You have to want to heal yourself. And I'm going to teach you how to do that, and I will facilitate it. But I am never going to claim to be able to do something that someone else can't do, because we all have the ability to do that in believing it and believing that we're worthy enough to do it, and just learning the tools.
So you're a facilitator, you're a connector.
Yes.
So if somebody was coming to you for one of these sessions, what would that look like?
For an Archangel session?
Yeah.
Generally just, I don't do a lot of one-on-one sessions.
Okay.
I do more of like group coaching with those. Kind of like
cool.
a group program, and where I'll do either a whole course on multiple archangels, or I'll do just like a one-nighter and just talk about one archangel and how to work with them, and the colors and the crystals and the herbs and all that associate.
So based on what you say about the archangels, different people may resonate with.
Yes.
Just like they will with the crystal or
just like everything.
Wow, that's so...
Is it more, I guess I'm having trouble. The crystals to me is physical. It's there.
Yeah.
There's different ones that do different things. Like
You got that.
grasped it right away. Archangel. So is there any audio, visual?
They're meditations. So I take people through a meditation.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's
I
okay.
failed to mention. So we will go through a guided meditation.
Okay. And are you calling upon a specific one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
And that's dependent on what my needs might be.
What your needs might be, yes. Or if you're coming to me to learn, I'm going to take you through it to learn how you can then take yourself through that guided meditation or a recorded meditation and have that conversation, because we think we need to see something to talk to it. Yeah. Right? Or for it to hear us. So getting through that guided meditation allows for that. Sometimes it's writing it, down in a book or a journal or burning it. But and paying attention to different messages that we may get. Now I'm getting really woo-woo for you guys. Sorry. But different messages that, we get signs all the time that we don't necessarily realize or pay attention to. And so the biggest thing that we can do is just more of an awareness of what's happening around us. And I like to kind of talk about like money and abundance with that. So having a small notebook just for abundance, financial abundance only, because there are many kinds of abundance. But, I got a refund check from my medical insurance company. Woohoo. Wrote it down. Thank you. Acknowledging it, because the more you acknowledge things, the more whoever up there, somewhere around us or whatever, the universe notices that we are noticing, they're going to send more, because it's happening all the time. It's happening with the people that we meet, for certain particular reasons. It's happening with the pennies on the street, with the feathers. Like, there are signs. And so part of the Archangel in particular stuff is the noticing of it and acknowledging the things that the messages that these entities or energies are sending.
So it sounds like you're trying to get everyone to this same place, but you just have different ways of doing it, just different tools.
Yeah.
Are these all interconnected? Because I understand like how you got into the death doula. That was a good story. And then the crystals, I feel like that was always there. And then you kind of unlocked it. Yeah. Maybe you unlocked it. But with the archangels, how did you get into that one?
I was always kind of interested in angels too. My mom collected angel figurines and stuff. So I've always been attracted to angels, but I didn't know necessarily,
And these are all interconnected.
Yeah, it's all.
I've just never seen it as an all-in-one package. It is, but I feel they're interconnected. It makes sense to me. Yeah,
and because it's really just all the same thing, but what method of communication is going to hit?
Yes,
right. For someone, it might be crystals. For someone, it might be angels. Some people, it might just be meditation. It's going to be dependent on what hits, and a lot of times what their religious background is, because there are a lot of people with a lot of religious trauma that they're trying to unpack it. We kind of have to go through that in layers because they're not ready for all this.
Generational trauma.
Totally.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Some people are more comfortable saying God. Some people are more comfortable saying creator, but they're speaking of the same
That's how I see it.
Exactly right. The universe,
and religion puts borders,
right,
which is helpful to some.
Right.
Yeah. But
this is so cool. This is so interesting.
No borders in my spirituality or whatever you want to call it.
Do you have, like, let's say I come to you with a problem. Let's say I have bad anxiety. Do you say, okay, let's do crystals first, then archangel? Or is there like, how do you know what's going to work? Because I would say most people might be more like me where they don't know these different.
Right.
And that's why we're talking about it.
Right. And so that's why I like to call myself an educator. And if you came to me with anxiety, I would tell you I've had anxiety since I was 5.
Okay.
So I get you. And I'm first going to invite them to tell me a little bit about it. And a lot of what I do is 100%. Most of what I do is based on my intuition. Okay. So I don't know what I'm going to tell you until I meet you.
Fair enough.
Until I feel you.
Yep.
Well, that's the practitioner side. Yeah. I don't know what therapeutic's best for you yet until we go down that journey.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I do.
So that's how you are?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you base it. You don't say, okay.
Yeah, I base, and that's why a lot of times I just, to book a session with me, it's like, just book a session with me. Or a lot of times just book a spiritual coaching session with me and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
You know, because, you know, maybe you'll want to get on the table, maybe you won't, but let's just talk and kind of get a feel.
That's how it is with massage. I used to have all these different modalities. And then I'm like, wait, I'm doing the same thing. I just might need this tool this time and this tool another time.
And it confuses people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now it's just book a session with me and we'll figure out what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which is why you've gone after these different certifications, because one size doesn't fit all, one modality doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And all these certifications are crap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They're ways for people to make money.
Borders. Yeah. Borders.
Exactly.
It is.
It's people. There are a lot of people who are more comfortable because you have a certification.
Yeah. Yep.
But the truth is that I've learned way more about everything that I do based on my own education than the certification I paid a lot of money for.
Yeah.
So doctors, in full transparency, are pretty much required to get certifications in their specialty, which sounds great. But most people don't realize, number one, these aren't government entities. These are private institutions.
Exactly.
So I am certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine and the American Board of Preventative Medicine for clinical informatics. So 2 different boards, 2 different exams, 2 different costs. And what's interesting is in government-based health centers, they don't require you to be boarded or certified because they're not government. They're private entities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, I'm certified and I'm not putting certifications down because it does kind of show some degree of education. But I also agree from the practitioner side of what you do in the physical work, those, you know, we could call them crap because your real education came in your training.
Totally.
Yeah, your training and your experience.
Yes.
And how much are you willing to learn outside of all of that? Like, what work are you doing on yourself to be better? So,
yeah, well, that's why your experience with the patients and some of the questions I asked, well, I want to know what you've seen. That's the same with doctor. Well, doc, what would you do?
Right.
That's my favorite question, by the way. If someone asks me, what would you do? Because that means I don't care about your certification. I care about what you've seen. And when you ask, what would you do? I always have an answer.
Yep.
So, well, this is what I would do based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And those are the people that I want to deal with. Those are the doctors that I want to deal with. I don't want you to tell me what the book says I should do.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, what have you seen? What have you experienced? And what's the best course of action? Because it's going to be different from person A to person B. Right. You have to bring the humanity.
Yes.
And as we get to use AI more in all aspects of life, it's that human connection that still matters. And does this pertain to me even if the robot says this is the percentage that may or may not affect, it still doesn't matter. Like, what would you do? Why would you do it? And you know what? I'm not going to do anything, or I might do something. It's very personal, like where we started this whole conversation with your friend not wanting to go through another round of treatment, which is totally okay.
Yep. Wow.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any more questions.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe put a shout out to the promotion on the Archangel or the Crystal, or the same?
All of it's still on my website.
Okay.
You can find out almost all of my offerings on my website.
Awesome. It's a great website, by the way, guys.
Thank you.
Check it out.
I build websites also.
Nice.
What can she do?
I like to say that there are only things I can't do yet.
Yes.
Okay.
I love that. And that's so important. That yet, although it's a 3-letter word, it keeps the door open for those infinite possibilities that we were talking about.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's not enough science to prove it yet.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many things that just aren't yet.
Yeah. That's another thing. I feel like as a society, we're shifting from that like scientific materialism view that like, if it matters, it exists. And now we're like expanding what we know is, okay, it doesn't matter, but it still may exist.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to process more of this data with the help of AI and machines, and we'll have a more understanding on if, these other modalities of therapy, like just because no one has spent the money and time to research it, there's still data that exists.
Absolutely.
And as we process that, I'm very excited and optimistic. These are some of the benefits of how tech is advancing. We can start to ask and understand things in domains like crystal healing that we really haven't thought.
Right.
And maybe soon as part of your healing process, I'm going to prescribe this med and this med and give you this IV. But guess what? You need to put this crystal by your bed for the next 4 weeks. Well, who knows? It could. Why would it not happen? It could.
I could float away at that point.
Seriously, 5 years ago, aromatherapy, there's no science to prove it. And many hospitals now, and a lot of hospice are now including aromatherapy in their rooms because absolutely it does something.
It's in corporate wellness programs now.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Equine therapy for substance use centers. By the way, hospitals, a lot of them have dogs.
Yes, they should.
And I've talked to a lot of nurses. They're like, as soon as the dog comes in, person who's been zonked out for days, the dog comes up, boom, alert, awaken. It's incredible. So what is that? It must be some energy type connection.
100%.
It is.
We are all connected.
Oh, yes.
Every single one of us, whether we like it or not, are connected, and not just to each other, but to the animals and to the birds and to everything. And until we can figure that out and accept it, we are going to remain sick in our heads and in our, in our minds,
in our bodies,
and our, which is going exactly to move into our
unlock the
bodies.
Trauma.
Yeah,
that's it.
Unlock it for
That's
healthier living.
You guys, I could melt away right now. This was such a great conversation.
I loved it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Well, that was amazing. Pretty awesome 2-part series.
Yeah.
I felt there were a lot of interconnectivity with some of the work that our guest does, but I think it was just nice to kind of have focus on the different elements for those that are ever interested in such careers. And what they can do, or if you're interested on your own self to kind of explore some of these, I guess we could call it energy reading, but what was your take? What did you think?
I thought she was incredible. And I feel like her and the three of us were speaking the same language when it comes to these energies and the things that we can't see. And so my hope is that our conversation today gets people like you like asking questions. What is that? And do a little Google search, a little chat GTP to just uncover a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel, it kind of has been an accident, but we're not meaning to have like a focus on death per se, but a lot of these types of fields being, secret job society kind of just involve stuff that people really might not think of or might not have grew up wanting to do, being a death doula or a crystal energy reader. Although I felt that because she mentioned she's always been into crystals, that was kind of like a calling. I felt a lot of this. Like anytime I hear someone say that it just came naturally to me, I feel like those are some of the best people within that industry, whatever the industry might be. Because even my own self and certain things that I do, it just comes natural to me. I can't always describe it. It's some sort of gift that we have from, who knows, some injected energy or calling. Yeah, totally. So I hope you enjoy the episode. And if you know someone who has interesting type of work or is a member that you believe is a member of the Secret Job Society, have them contact us at info@sjspodcast.com. And do you want to tell us what we're looking for?
Yes, we need your help. We are looking for an escape room designer. So if you know anyone who plans the escape rooms, please send us an email at info@sjspodcast.com.